Welcome back to FTV News Tonight. What is it about when people talk about corporate responsibility of government and citizens? Who holds them accountable? And how will they go about performing these responsibilities? We'll find out tonight because I'm joined by Ambassador Gabriel Odi, the Deputy Chief Whip of the National Youth Assembly of Nigeria, NYAN. And they're talking about a Southeast Youth Assembly Summit to talk about all this. And we want to know, how is it possible? How do we chart a course for the government and then the people? Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the news. Gabriel Odi, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm quite curious. So corporate responsibility of government and citizens. We hear about CSR. And oftentimes people don't quite understand that CSR can also swing to the government. It's only private individuals who get into CSR. So exactly how does it work when you talk about government?
Okay, in this context, the program we are planning is fashioned in a way that I want to educate the citizen and tell them they have a role to play in governance. Especially in the aspect of security. I'll just cite an example that is predominant, especially in advanced nations. When a crime is committed, they have a dedicated number that is always called 911. And once that happens, because they have a system in place, the system will route and look with their GPS to look for the nearest patrol vehicle that is closest to that place, and then send signal, and the crime will be curtailed. Now, we need to replicate same in Nigeria, because without the help of citizens, most of these elements won't be sorted out. So the program is fashioned in a way where citizens will be educated. It is for the speakers, we have 4 speakers, and the program will be in 4 dimensions. Somebody that will talk about government, tell the people the importance of government, their role in governance, and somebody that will also talk about the role of citizens in governance. And you can't be talking about governance without the aspect of the security. So there's a security officer that will do justice to that also. Then to crown it all, we have someone that will talk about the legislative framework that will harmonize these pillars of government, these 3 pillars of government.
So typically, your own analysis of this now, what do you think the people should understand? If someone takes advantage of that gathering, what will be the takeaways? What is it you're expecting that a person should learn?
Okay, basically, we are awakening our patriotism and consciousness to governance. And we should understand that we don't just leave everything to government. And something happened recently. I was driving and someone threw dirt on the road. And I accosted the person. I have to ask the person to, pick the dirt and then, trash it in the proper place. So these are literally 2 incidents that happen in our daily lives that we felt, it's not my business. I'm not the one in charge. Maybe, okay, they have an agency like SWOMA that is saddled with that responsibility. But when we begin to have that consciousness, that we are part and parcel of the government, and with such issues, we need to address it, you understand, head on, not leaving it to the appropriate authority. Because if we leave it, these are little gaps that escalate to something else.
So now, exactly why do you think that the people are losing that touch of knowing that there are things they need to do for the society to work better? You cited an example of someone disposing things indiscriminately. Why do you think people take these things for granted? They do this and they still turn back to blame the government for the city being dirty. Because, if you look at it, it's not the government that, unquote, generates all the dirt on the road. Yeah. It's the people that throw them.
Yes.
So at what point do you think the people started jettisoning their own responsibility and thinking that, okay, because they've elected people in government, they just have to do that?
Okay, I just cited one in many incidents. In a situation like that, most of us are not patriotic. We don't have that self-consciousness of doing the right thing. It's a systemic thing. Most people will grow up meeting this thing in place, and as such follow suit. People get away with murder. You understand? Little things like that. So the idea is, aside instilling the right values through this program, talking to opinion holders, youth leaders, student leaders, people that are influential, those people, if they get the right information and with their followers, it trickles down. So that's the idea. And once that happens, you see that we begin to have a mind change, a mind shift from doing what is normal, what you feel is normal, because it is said that if impunity goes unchecked, unaddressed, it becomes a norm. So most of these things is something, a foundation, a dirty foundation that was laid, and we as people, as citizens, we need to start correcting those norms. We're shifting it back to the right things to do.
So those right things to do, it goes beyond, keeping the city clean.
No,
there are a few other things.
Yeah.
So help us situate how the event you plan to do, how it will change the narrative.
Okay, the event we plan to do, aside what I cited about the security, we also talk about citizens exercising their franchise in election. You understand, it is your right to elect their leaders. In recent times, we used to have a lot of voters apathy, especially after the last election, that a lot of people felt their mandate weren't what they voted for, and a lot have had conversations with a lot of young persons that say the system is lopsided and they are giving up hopes. But we need to also we are waking that consciousness that they should elect their leaders. Aside that, also they should have that community value. Look at ways to give back to the society. It's not only accepting from the government. We look at ways, innovative ways, because the reason why we are created in life is to make impact. What you do when you are no more, what will you be remembered for? So these are part of the issues that will be talked about on that day.
So at the House of Assembly, legislative building, you don't get many functions happening in there, and they must be special to their hearts to allow the legislative building to be used on the 3rd of July. Talk to us about how you're able to galvanize the lawmakers into this.
I've been opportune. When I was the Speaker of the Third Assembly of the National Youth Assembly, and I did my inauguration in the State House of Assembly. I also did a program then, legislative summit in the House of Assembly. So we have had that close rapport and synergy. Part of what our assembly does is to shadow what the legislative arm of government is doing, because a lot of people don't know that the legislative arm of government is the most powerful. So, and that is the right channel, that's the right arm that trains and breeds young leaders. So we are, partnering what they are doing, shadowing, learning from them and all that. So we've had this handshake over time. Virtually all our programs we've done thus far is in the House of Assembly.
Interesting stuff. So you'll be having speakers, one or two of their names?
Okay, our first speaker is the Secretary to the Government of Enugu State, Professor Gabriel Odi. We'll be talking on the aspect of the government side. And for the part of the citizen, we have the State Director of the National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Clara. We'll be speaking on the part of the citizen. And also, there's something peculiar about this event. We also will share leaflets of the new national anthem. You agree with me that a lot of people don't know how to recite it.
Is that the problem, or that they haven't bought into it?
They haven't. Now.
Do you think that government sold the anthem to them, or it was forced down people's throats?
It wasn't forced down people's throats.
No, well, there was a legislation, but there was no. Normally, for a new legislation to happen, you have to have a public hearing. They just came one day and said the president wants it, and that's it.
And the thing, what I felt happened was there was not enough time for people to learn before it's being adopted as our official anthem. You understand? It was a fire brigade approach. And a lot of people felt they weren't carried along in the process. You understand? So that they should be sharing leaflets to, instill that spirit of patriotism. It's their job, you know, to orientate the people.
Right.
We have the police PPRO, Superintendent Daniel Ndukwe.
Okay.
Will be doing justice to the security part of the discussion. And then lastly, we have Honorable Mobia Julu, Ugu, Princess Ugu. She will be speaking on the part of the legislative side, to talk about how the citizen should know to account, or rather to hold the government and public official accountable. And also on the part of the public official, once in a while, I can remember this government once in a while does, town hall to get the pulse of the people. How am I performing? Am I doing okay? What do you think we can do? We can add to do better than what we are doing. So the event is going to be an epoch-making one. I'm very certain about that. It's already generating a lot of traction,
All right.
Especially from young minds.
Okay. We wish you all the best with that.
Thank you very much.
Ambassador Gabriel Odi, Deputy Chief Whip, National Youth Assembly of Nigeria, NYAN. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for staying with us on the news tonight. Do follow us on all social media platforms at Afia TV Official. And you can stream our news at www.afiatv.net/live. My name is Alex Obodo. Good night.